those history facts! Welcome back to History 101. Avery here with your co-host.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
Hi, I'm Madison.
Today we are focusing on the Second Industrial Revolution and what happened. Advancement in new industries like steel, chemicals, and electricity was significant to the Second Industrial Revolution that occurred throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Industry and technology expansion led to more efficient mass production methods. The Bessemer process, developed in the mid-19th century, revolutionized the production of steel by making it more cost-effective and efficient. Steel could make stronger and more durable machinery, enhancing overall manufacturing capabilities. Because production rates were able to rise and become more efficient, the cost of products decreased. Businesses boomed due to the increased production and sales from lowered prices. Because of the increase of steel and electricity, transportation became a lot easier and quicker. Railways were based on steel as well as tunnels and some ships. Advancements in chemicals could be seen through fertilizers or dyes, bettering the agriculture and textile industries. Transportation also improved when fuel production increased. This is because fuel was largely accessible for trains, cars, and boats to transport people. Advances in electricity tremendously enhanced manufacturing in factories. Electric motors were easier to manage than steam engines. Electricity was the root of many forms of transportation, including cars and trains. In summary, the Second Industrial Revolution's innovations in the steel, chemical, and electrical industries transformed transportation and production methods in addition to stimulating economic expansion. These inventions brought in a revolutionary era in history by laying the foundations for current manufacturing techniques, infrastructure, in the worldwide economy.
So cool you know all that. Could you give me an example?
This picture here really shows the significant advancements in technology, manufacturing, and transportation during the Second Industrial Revolution. The increase in factory workers played a crucial role in boosting the economy during this period for several reasons. During the time of industrialization, most people made their money through industry jobs. Because of this, people would migrate to the cities and factories would be packed with workers, as shown in this picture. The people in this picture were able to greatly contribute to the production process since there were so many of them assigned to one section. These workers would work long hours completing the same task over and over again. This allowed for products to be made at outstanding speed, which caused production rates to boom. As production rates rose, prices would lower due to increased supply meeting demand. The economy skyrocketed as a result, and businesses excelled in sales. Increased supply allowed for increased wages. In turn, the economy would benefit from workers that could earn money on various goods and services.
Wow, that makes perfect sense. But can you explain how the advancements in transportation and communication affect both internal and external migration during the 19th century?
Yes, I can explain. Advancements in transportation and communication greatly affected internal and external migrations during the 19th century. The enhancement of railroad systems made it easier for people to travel from place to place within a country. Specifically, the accessibility that railroads provided to urban areas grew cities and industries. The ability to transport goods to distant markets grew the workforce and triggered internal migration. Steamships made international transportation possible, promoting external migration. This also sparked international trade, which grew the economy overall with the amount of raw materials and agricultural goods that could be shipped overseas. Internal and external migration increased due to the invention of the telegraph. Since people could communicate instantly, even with the barrier of distance, they were more willing to move further away from their family. Additionally, the telegraph enabled news to spread quicker, which would enable job opportunities as well. People would migrate to the job that they heard about through the flow of information that the telegraph brought. Overall, the 19th century's breakthroughs in communication and transportation had a significant impact on both internal and external migration. In addition to establishing physical connections between distant places, railroads and steamships and telegraphs allowed people to share ideas, opportunities, and information. These developments paved the way for the greater interconnection of the world and had a significant impact on the demographic, economic, and social settings of the 19th century.
Thank you. That makes sense.
Now we're going to move on to the spread of industrialization. Could you explain some similarities and differences of Russia and the United States industrialization process for us, Lauren?
No problem, Avery. Russia and the United States had many similar industrialization efforts. Russia and the U.S. were both very quick to adopt women into the workforce. Women were given such jobs as factory workers, and they worked in silk thread factories. Women were seen as important in the household and in these factories. A similarity both Russia and the United States also share is the shift from farmland workspaces to industrial powerhouses. Before the Industrial Revolution, they significantly depended on farmers. This change in technology caused the factory jobs to be more common and popular than farming. This significantly impacted both of their economies and societies. The industrialization efforts in Russia and the United States were both similar in many ways, but also had differences. For example, the need for industrialization in Russia started after their defeat in the Crimean War. They industrialized in response to Western European nations' industrialization. The United States needed to industrialize because of their lack of transportation and their want to have better communication. Another difference is the United States generated an independent industry. The United States has freedom over their rights and workspace. However, Russia was mainly controlled by their government. Their government promoted and funded their industrial efforts. Russia also had a much quicker rate of industrialization than the U.S. did. Russia wanted to overtake Western Europe's success because they wanted to be larger, but Western Europe already had a large technological change.
Wow, thanks, Lauren. But can you explain Latin America's industrialization process?
You know I can. The Industrial Revolution caused Latin America to need to build new technologies and export raw materials. The Industrial Revolution had a need for textile factories to manufacture raw products and export them. Latin America commonly exported coffee and bananas. Latin America directed their countries to export economies. New technologies and fashions were also brought to Latin America from Europe. A rapid growth of Latin American exports to industrializing countries occurred which provided materials, products, and markets. Latin American export boom increased the value of goods by a large amount. Latin America imported the textile machinery and goods from the United States and Europe. Capital they received was used to provide railroads that led to the coasts to ship products out. Latin America also wanted to make themselves similar to Europe and the United States. Latin America lost their uniqueness due to their need to modernize and become more urban. They also tried to reach out to more Europeans and attract them.
Wow, you really know your stuff. Madison, let's hear what you have to say about socialism emerging as a reaction to capitalism.
Socialism, who was created by Karl Marx as a reaction to the industrial age, emerged as a reaction to capitalism. Socialism is an economic and social idea in which major industries are owned by workers themselves rather than private businesses. Capitalism is where Capitalism is where business owners centralized labor in factories and began the division of labor to increase production and profitability. The socialist idea challenging capitalism gradually spread throughout the working class. A major and important revolutionary factor in socialism was Karl Marx. Karl Marx did a lot of analysis and writing about socialism and capitalism. This made him realize that industrial capitalism was a very unstable system. He concluded that it was ultimately going to collapse, leading to a classless socialist society. He thought capitalism would fail and was deeply flawed. There were complaints from people that the working conditions there were very bad and dangerous. Working also became humiliating, and conflicts arose between the working and the capital. Marxists adopted many solutions for the emergence of a socialist society. They founded political parties in many European states and also incorporated them into international organizations. They recruited members, gained the right to vote, contested elections, encouraged reforms, and sometimes plotted revolution.
Dang, Madison, you really studied up on your stuff, huh? Let's see if you know the labor movements.
There were many labor movements before the Industrial Revolution. In the 19th century, labor movements actually sought to improve and protect the lives of workers. They fought for fair hours, better pay, and safe working conditions. Labor movements also mobilized aid for injured and worked to get rid of child labor. These labor movements were reacting to the poor treatment of workers in factories. Wages, especially for women, were very low. The working hours were long and exhausting, sometimes 16 hours a day with only a short break. Working in factories was also very dangerous. The machines did not have safety fences or covers, and some workers were exposed to extremely hot temperatures. There was smoke everywhere, which caused various diseases and health problems among the workers. If someone became sick or injured, they would be abandoned and not treated or helped with medical care. To achieve his goals of improving the lives of workers, he had to use many tactics. One thing he would do was boycotting. The labor movement would ask towns not to buy anything from the said factory unless they agreed to the terms of the working conditions. Another tactic they would use is sabotage. Since they were desperate, they resorted to this illegal tactic. They used sabotage on factory equipment or machines to get their point across. In this document here, it really shows how the working conditions in textile factories were terrible. The hours were long and workers were often underpaid. The workers had to work almost the whole day to receive not a lot of pay. Women received half of what men would receive. The conditions of these workplaces were often dirty and overcrowded. The tasks they would perform were also dangerous. The document shows a news headline that states a young boy fell into a coal chute and died. The subtitles also state a child had his leg burned in the mines. Many people died from injuries sustained during work or were severely injured. Women were often given unimportant jobs in these workforces. Children were also given jobs as child labor was allowed. Some died from diseases and their injuries sustained from the workplace.
Thanks so much for explaining, but can you explain the Asian states' reaction to European industrialization?
Asian states, such as the Ottomans and the Qing, reacted to European industrialization in many ways. Both the Ottomans and the Qing did not industrialize immediately, so they couldn't stay level with the more developed countries who had already industrialized. They sought to reform and modernize their economies and militaries. the Ottomans made reforms about military and tax collection. They also reformed government corruption, a secularized education system, and an updated legal system that emphasizes equality before law. The Ottomans also created a provincial representative assemblies and introduced new codes of commercial and criminal law. The Qing reacted by establishing ventures in transportation, industry, and commerce. They also made new machines and steam engines, which changed transportation. The Qing also produced the self-strengthening movement. This was a movement in which the Qing dynasty tries to modernize their government, education, and military to take part with other industrialized economies. Overall, the Ottomans and Qings were very influenced by the ideas of European industrialization and made a big change of the empires.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Madison. Well, I think that wraps up History 101 podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Bye!